So here's a question from Randy in New York. And Randy writes to me and he says, "Hey Paul, thanks for this series." Thanks for watching, Randy. I appreciate it. Since you say our civilization fits into a small time when the glaciers receded, wouldn't those glaciers scrape away any evidence of the Eemians? Yeah, very, very likely. I mean, glaciers are rather brutal. So let's just review our glacier cycle, if you will. Glaciers for the last 4 or 5 cycles there's a Milankovitch cycle where the Earth tilts as it goes around the sun. And every 100,000 years or so, it tilts just enough to where the Earth warms up. And it warms up for about 10 to 12,000 years. That's an interglacial period. That's the exception, not the rule. And then it goes back to glaciers. So this has been happening throughout Earth's history. And sometimes there's long ones and short ones. And so, but recently, over the last 4, I think, have been pretty consistent. 100,000 years, 20,000, 12,000 years of warming. And the last warming period before our current one, where flowers and everything came up, was called the Eemian. And that was a fairly identical period to the Holocene, which is what we're in now. And I won't bother. I'm sure if you've watched this series at all, you know that we had identical humans living in identical circumstances with very much the same things happening when we look at the evidence of global warming, of greenhouse gases. And so Eemians supposes that there were people, which we know is true, just like us, which we know is true, but what we don't know is true, and what we're writing about is that these people were technologically advanced just like we are. No reason to think that they weren't. So anyway, let me give you an example of how brutal glaciers are. This is something I was listening to one of my favorite podcasters, Malcolm Gladwell, and in his revisionist history, he had an episode about, I think it was in 16th, 17th, maybe the 18th, and I think it was the 18th and 19th century. So there were disfigured people in various places around the world. Switzerland was a big one. Ohio, the major Midwest, and by disfigured, people had these goiters. These, if you look it up, I mean, it's like a big, ball of flesh over here. And what's happening is the thyroid is going bananas and swelling up because it's working so hard. Why? Because the person isn't eating enough iodine. And I found this fascinating. It's why we have iodized salt. If you look at most salt today, if it isn't sea salt, which already has a lot of iodine, which is by the coasts, you see Morton iodized salt, right? Well, they put iodine into salt because we don't get enough of it in our diet, and we get these terrible goiters, and all kinds of bad stuff can happen. But why don't we have it? Why does the middle of the country have almost no iodine in the soil from which plants grow, and then you eat the plants, and that's normally how you get iodine, or you live by the coasts and you get your iodine from salt water or from plants that are grown there in an iodine rich soil. Well, in the Midwest, in Switzerland, places way away from the ocean, glaciers came through and scraped all the topsoil off that had iodine in it, leaving nothing, just iodine-free scraped dirt, along with everything else. Evidence of civilizations, all right through. And I just found that fascinating that these guys figured this out, put iodine and salt, and just within a few years, the goiters went down. you don't even think about it today, right? Anyway, so this isn't about goiters and all of that. What it's about is how brutal glaciers are. And if you think about it, if most of the Earth is constantly covered in glaciers, and every once in a while, about every 100,000 years, they recede, and we have these warming periods, like the one we're in now that started about 12,000 years ago, well, you can see that anything that was there, a civilization, bones, anything, iodine, scraped away. So anyway, I thought you'd find that fascinating. Hey, if you have a question, feel free to go to emians.com or leave something in the comment section here, but emians.com, EMIANS.com, and go down to the comment section. And for those that have subscribed to this channel, I will probably, I don't know, January, February-ish, we're going to release book 1 of Emians, The Great Untruth, and I'm going to be giving away free copies of it in the hopes that you will help me. You read it, you'll like it, you'll comment, and all. We'll talk about it. So, and I got to find somebody to narrate it. So my first choice is Jim Dale. Jim is an actor in England. I've tried to reach out to him. I don't know if he'll ever pay any attention to me. He read The Night Circus. The guy's brilliant. Love it. So it's him. Kate Blanchard would be very high on my list, and she's somebody who's really interested in climate change, in all the stuff that this book really revolves around. So who knows? She's probably way out of my league. No, let's be clear. She is definitely way out of my league. But Kate, if you're out there, oh, that'd be great. Or Jim. That's my first 2 choices. And we'll see who we get. All right. Thanks for the questions. Talk to you later. Bye.